The Inside Light of Christmas. Admiring the Christmas tree displayed in his neighbor's windows, the little Jewish boy asked his father, "Daddy, can we have a Hanukkah bush?" "What? Absolutely not," said his father. "Why not?" protested the child. "Because the last time we had dealings with a lighted bush, we spent 40 years in the wilderness." As most of you know, Hanukkah was celebrated earlier this month, from the 2nd to the 10th. And what was interesting is that our daughter, who is dating a very lovely, nice young Jewish boy, got to experience Hanukkah at his home. And that was a really neat experience for her. And this morning, we're going to continue our conversation centered on holiday light as we look at what we call the inside light of Christmas. And see, remember, we'll get to what it means. And what we're talking about is that how the Christmas story has to offer us the context of what light represents to us in this month. The idea of living inside of God's highest truth. The inside story of Christmas might not be something that we look at all that often because, as I know you probably all are, we're very, very busy with all the outside and outer trappings of the holidays. It's so easy to get wrapped up in all of it, so to speak. Wrapped up in all of it. My guess is that there are a number of you who are still, having a few things on your list left to do. Am I right? Right? Yes. Run to the grocery store, pick up that last gift, wrap those gifts, make another batch of cookies. Yeah? Anybody doing any of that? So, for all of you who still have things to do, and for those of you who are slightly panicked in the mode right now because there's still a lot left to do, here's a great affirmation. God is directing my every step and blessing all of my activities. I am on divine schedule, and all unfolds in perfect timing. Let's say that together. God is directing my every step.
God is directing my every step.
And blessing all of my activities.
And blessing all of my activities.
I am on a divine schedule.
I am on a divine schedule.
And all unfolds in perfect timing.
All unfolds in perfect timing.
And so it is. So who's completely ready for Christmas? Oh, look at you. Okay. You win. Ding, 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 ding. Okay.
Not quite done.
Okay, see? All right. So there are some of us who aren't quite ready, aren't quite there yet, right? Some of us have the outside story of Christmas under control. Of course, we know that the gift giving and cookie baking and having company and parties, etc., really aren't the true or real story of Christmas. Christmas, of course, is the story of the birth of Jesus. And it certainly is a story since he most likely was not born at this time of year, but that's a whole nother sermon. Jesus, perhaps the greatest man of all, was born in a stable because there was no room at the inn. Wise men and shepherds followed a star to be with him. And as colorful as this story may be, this too is an outside story of Christmas. To get inside, we must catch that spirit realized by Brother Angelus, the medieval mystic poet who said, "Though Christ 1,000 times in Bethlehem be born, if he's not born in thee, thy soul is all forlorn." Or as Holmes once wrote, "The radiant glory of new dawn, the Christ within who is reborn." Of course, the inside story of Christmas, the inside light of Christmas, is allowing the Christ to be born in us. And when we look at the symbology inside the Christmas story, we're given a roadmap to birthing the Christ within, to living in the light. In fact, the elements of the Christmas story can have a deep personal meaning to each of us beyond their literal meaning. So we're going to look at 3 of them. And then we're going to look at applying them to our lives in very, very real and personal ways. So first we're going to explore them a little briefly. The 3 elements of the Christmas story. Number 1, no room at the inn. We are often asked, why was Jesus born in a manger? And it was interesting because we actually put up our manger or crutch and got it all situated this last week. And it's a beautiful thing. We just don't give it a second thought. Jesus was born in a manger. But why was he born in a manger? Why wasn't there room in the inn? In Bethlehem, it is not the innkeeper's fault that there was no room. The matter was simply a lack of space. Metaphysically, what could the inn symbolize? Could it symbolize your mind and your heart? Is there room in your mind and heart for the reflection of Christ within you? Is there room in your mind and heart for all that Jesus, the Christ, stood for? Is there room in your mind and heart for God's highest truths to reign? What are God's highest truths? Love. Is there room, or are you filled with past wounds and hurts or expectations and conditions? Peace. Is there room, or are you filled with unrest and upset, worry and doubt? Forgiveness and compassion. Is there room, or are you filled with resentment and anger? Acceptance. Is there room, or are you filled with judgments? Miracles. Is there room, or are you too filled with fear and attachment to appearances? Deeper understanding and learning. Is there room, or is your ego so involved that nothing else can come in? Are you so attached to being right that no deepening can occur? Wondrous possibilities. Is there room, or are you too tied to what can't be done rather than what can be done? I really could go on and on, but I think you get my drift. Hold on to these ideas for making room in your mind and heart for God's highest truths as we look at the second symbol this morning. Number 2, the shepherds. So let's look at the idea of the shepherds tending their flock. Here they were diligently standing watch over their flock when the angel of the Lord came to them to tell them that a very special child was born. How are we like the shepherds watching our flock? Metaphysically, what could our flock be? Our flock is our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings, our attitudes. We must lovingly watch over our flock. We must keep it under control and not let it run rampant. We must keep the flock safe. Keep the flock focused on God's highest truths, especially important when things appear to go in a direction that we don't like. Remember, appearances are not the reality. That's the conclusion of everything that we thought yesterday. It's easy to stay positive and God-centered when all is going well, isn't it? Boy, that's the easiest thing in the world to do. It's not quite so easy when they are not. It's easy to think positive about our health when we feel great. But if illness or physical pain strike, all of a sudden fear jumps in. Oh my goodness, I experienced that this week. My mind just started spinning off and I had to reel it back in. You know, I've had a little bit of a back pain, I think maybe from holding a 1-year-old that I'm not used to holding all the time. He's a heavy little chunk. Yeah, and so, started thinking about all the things that possibly could be before I said no. This is just getting used to something new, and it's all good. And so, that fear, it just is ready to go right in there. It's easy to believe that we teach what we teach in religious science. When things are going well on the outside, boy, we get proof all the time. Look at it. Yeah, this is it. We get it. It's when they're not that we need to be especially mindful of what is going on the inside. And tending the flock also means to do what we need to do in the world. It was the shepherd's job to tend the flock. It's our job as spiritual beings having human experiences to tend to the human experience as we need to do. To be good stewards of our vehicle, which is our body, and our flow, which is our abundance, and more, etc. So tuck these ideas away for now as we look at the final symbol. Number 3, wise men. Ernest Holmes said in a piece which appeared in the December 1950 issue of the Science of Mind magazine, "The wise men, the magi, represent the intellect which goes in search after truth. That intelligence in all of us which knows that God is not far off, that something within us feels with a feeling deep as life itself, that the holy babe of Bethlehem ought to be born in each one of us anew." And the wise men followed their intuition, led of God, until they too came to the manger where the little child lay. What do the wise men represent for us? The divine intelligence and the divine intuition inside us, all that can lead and direct us to the Christ within and to God's highest truths, if we but let it. But we must listen to it. Oh, and we must follow it. We can't just say it. We have to do it. We have to be it. Just as the wise men followed the star that rose in the east, so must we follow our divine intelligence and intuition, that small, still voice that tells us. Following it might not be all that convenient. It may not always make others happy. It may seem counterproductive, or it may seem selfish. But when true divine intelligence and intuition shine upon us like the star from the east shone upon the wise men, we are most wise to follow it. So in summary, no room in the inn symbolizes having our hearts and minds open and available to express God's highest truths. Shepherds tending their flocks symbolize our need to watch over our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and keep them focused on highest truths, especially when circumstances look scary, and to be good stewards of this earthly expression known as our lives. The wise men symbolize the divine intelligence, intuition that is available to us, and how we find the Christ light when we listen and follow, even if outer circumstances suggest we do otherwise. So how can we apply each of these symbols to today that we're looking at to what is going on right here, right now, in our center and in our lives, as our spiritual community and in our individual lives? Well, starting with the wise men's symbology, divine intelligence, intuition, what is your inner wisdom telling you? What is your inner wisdom telling you right now? Are we open to allowing the divine to fill us with ideas and inspiration, for one, to attract more to help us grow our centers? What ideas are coming through? What things just pop into our heads to help us bring this amazing center into the consciousness of others in our community? What fresh ideas are coming up for us to share this wonderful teaching and inspire others? What things are like extra magazines, giving them to someone, sharing them? Are we willing to find that Christ light, follow our truth, and let it shine wherever we are? Now is the time to share ideas and create a clear path for the new year. What we have here is too good. It's too important to keep to ourselves. I mean, isn't this, when you have something that's wonderful, don't you just want to share it with everyone? It's such a good feeling. So number 2, tending our flock symbology, watching our thoughts and being good stewards of this earthly experience. Our earthly experience for our center, we've had a couple of raises in our rent. Right, Suzanne? About the last 6 months? Kind of, I think, kind of got our attention. Boy, it got our attention, to say the least. We must tend our flock by staying centered in truth and by being good stewards. And our board meets monthly to look at how we can be better stewards and attract more parishioners. And we welcome ideas from everyone. We love it when people have great ideas. If there's a class that you'd like to have, or a book that you'd like to have a book study on, or maybe you have a great fundraising idea, it's all God in action. And we are open to that. We exist. We exist to serve you. And finally, number 3, room in the inn symbology, hearts and minds open. We must make sure there is room in our hearts and our minds for God's abundance and love to flow through us. My continuing great lesson is that of my ego being attached to what I believe success looks like. When we look at what is right before us, we are seeing the effect of previous beliefs in play. Those beliefs are standing in the way of miracles sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. If we're not seeing what we want, we need to clear that. We must get super clear on what we desire to experience, and then we have to keep our eye on the ball. We can never deviate. So easy to get distracted, especially in the busy time of the year, or with any time of the year really, with all of our devices and everything. This experience is calling us to be in greater oneness with God. What else? What else wants to be expressed here? What are God's highest truths about the Center for Spiritual Living, Modesto? Now is the time to open our hearts and our minds so that we can stand strong in these truths. So let's articulate. Our Center for Spiritual Living Modesto is God's divine idea in expression. We are God's divine idea in expression. We are providing spiritual community. We are here to serve as a beacon of light in our community and beyond. And due to the ripple effect, we have touched thousands of lives over the past almost 10 years. We have been a center for almost 10 years. We are open to evolving into even greater greatness. Whatever deeper truths we are to know and live through this experience together. We are being called into something so much more powerful than we are right now. We're being called. What else? What else are we being called to do? Anybody have any other things they'd like to add?
I think it covers most of it.
You think we've got it?
Except
I
something
think
pops
I'm
up.
doing what I was called to do.
Yeah,
We're-
something pops up. I mean, if you're in a grocery store, I saw, well, she was a very heavy woman, but she had the most beautiful top on, and she was in a wheelchair. And I did tell her, "Oh, your blouse is so pretty."
And that probably made her day, and
so
she probably
something comes
thought
up
about it.
instantly that you're
Yes.
not planning on or whatever. That
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
You're allowing God's flow
And it
to
was
flow
pretty.
through you. That's awesome. All right. So let's affirm that we stand in these truths now and every day. And bringing it to a personal level, how can you individually stand in these truths for yourself? Just as Thelma said, notice when you're out. Do the Advent calendar of kindness that was on Facebook a while back, which each day, it had something. Let someone go first. Give someone a compliment. These are just amazing.
The person in Starbucks behind you there.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
did
I've
that
been
a
doing
week
that.
ago.
I love that calendar.
Okay. It's a great little
You had
way
a
to.
calendar?
Well, I reposted it, so I have it
Yeah.
to refer to.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a great way to.
I'd like to have a hard copy of it. Is there a hard copy of it?
I tried to print it and it only printed like a portion. So
Oh.
yeah, I'll have to take a look at how I can do that if I can download it.
What calendar is that?
It's an advent calendar of for December, and it's every day is like an act of kindness that you can do. Just suggestions, like give someone a hug, smile at a stranger, wish
the
them,
door open.
hold the door open for someone.
Let
There-
someone
Where
go
is
ahead
it?
of you.
Where is it?
it is on.
Center
It's
for
on.
Spiritual Living?
Yeah, did I put it on Center for Spiritual Living? Yeah, it's on our It's on our Facebook page.
Oh, Facebook. I don't do Facebook.
Oh, you don't do Facebook? Okay, well I'll try to get it because it's something we should probably have every year. I think
Next
it's
year.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
a,
Put it in a file and then copy it next
All of a
year.
sudden, a box appeared on our front porch, and we're at 2116 Park Ridge Drive, and it was 2168 Heart Song Road.
Oh my
It was 2
gosh.
miles away. So I took it to the UPS place. They said, "Oh, we can't do anything with that. It's got a whatever." They couldn't. So I took it to the woman's house, and it turned out what I was delivering was meat that she orders from Stockton. She said, "Well, you'd had some pretty good steaks if you'd kept that." I said, "Well, you probably should call this number of the."
and make sure they know how to deliver
They
it.
don't
So
know how to deliver.
you made somebody's Christmas.
Oh.
But that's
great.
yeah, and you know that everything that we put out there comes back to us,
Oh,
pressed
wow.
down and multiplied, and it feels so good. It just feels so good. So please join me in an affirmative prayer as a way of ending our talk today. Today we stand together in truth and light,
today we stand together
Together in truth and light,
knowing that all we have said this morning
knowing that all we have said this morning
is setting the law in action.
Is
is
setting the law in action.
We are divine expressions of the One,
We are divine expressions of the One,
with all of the creative power
with all the creative power
flowing through us,
flowing through us,
energizing our words and our actions.
energizing our words and our actions.
Our center is revitalized,
Our center is revitalized,
attracting and creating a living fellowship
attracting and creating a living fellowship
of lovely people
of
lovely
lovely
people,
people,
excited to make a positive difference in this world.
excited to make a positive difference in this world.
Each of our lives is divinely guided
Each of our lives is divinely guided
and supported in every way
and
supported in every way
needed to accomplish what we are here to do.
needed to accomplish
accomplish what we are here to do.
Inspiring and creative ideas
Inspiring creative ideas
flow easily to each of us as we work together
flow easily to each of us as we work together
to create a thriving, joy-filled center.
to create a thriving, joy-filled center.
We are the light.
We are the light.
We are the love.
We are the love.
We are the power.
We are the power.
And we stand in this truth
And we stand in this truth
with grateful hearts.
with grateful hearts.
We release this treatment,
We release this treatment
knowing it is already done in the mind of God.
knowing it is already done in the mind of God.
And so it is.